late to come out to this today. We're pleased to see everyone in attendance here. Before we start, we all have a lot to say, but before we start, I wanted to have a moment of silence for the victims of the downing of Ukrainian Airlines Flight 752 on January 8 over Tehran. So let's all have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Now, we're here today on the global day of protest for no war on Iran. And this is on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples in solidarity with Canadians in 13 cities from coast to coast, brothers and sisters in over 210 cities around the world.
Hear, hear.
Now, these are our slogans that we'll be using today. I'll just read them out to you. You'll hear them later on. No war on Iran, bring Canadian troops home from Iraq, hands off Syria, and Canada out of NATO. So let's hear that chant from earlier, the one in, let's make it so they can hear this in Ottawa, okay? No sanctions, no war, throw Justin Trudeau out the door. No sanctions, no war, throw Justin Trudeau out the door.
No sanctions, no war.
Throw Justin Trudeau out the door. And there is an email list circulating. Howla Ibrahim has it. If you want to get on the email list, talk to Howla. Now, first of all, before we start, we have our treasurer of the coalition, but he's already spoken at the moment. So who's...
The singers are here.
Oh, okay.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes, we are going to have the Extinction Rebellion singers, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that later. They're just getting ready. They arrived just in time. But I think coming up now, we have Kevin McKay, professor at Mohawk College. Now, I know Kevin. A lot of us, most of us here know Kevin. He's been a valuable part of anti-war activity in Hamilton for a long time. Way back in 2002, in the run-up to Bush and Blair's attack on Iraq, Kevin used the Sky Dragon Center as a venue to gather people in Hamilton together in ones and twos to start a movement in this city here to oppose that oncoming war in Iraq. And because of people like Kevin, we were able to eventually amass hundreds and hundreds of people to come out to rallies and demonstrate here in the streets, go right down by First Ontario Centre, go block streets, all sorts of things, thanks to patience of organizers like Kevin. So, Kevin, thank you very much for speaking on our behalf and your behalf in Sky Dragon Centre today. Thanks.
Thank you, brothers, sisters, comrades. I am very, very happy to be here with you today. I think it's incredibly important that we're speaking up as people, and especially as working people, about the kind of really gangster system that the United States represents and that NATO represents around the world. The kind of wars, the kind of regime change operations, it literally is organized crime. I mean, this is the kind of world system that we're experiencing right now. It does not serve working people, and it's not supported by working people in Canada or in the United States. These are wars for the rich, they're wars for the 1%, and they have to end. And I think it's very important. We have to speak especially to our government. Too often the government of Canada provides flimsy cover, you know, that is sort of moral justification for naked imperialism. When our government refuses to speak up against the extrajudicial assassination of a general, you know, beloved by the Iranian people, when our government refuses to speak up about coup attempts in Venezuela, about the assault on the Syrian people that's been transpiring over the past, really, almost 10 years, we have to have a government in Canada that respects the rule of law, that respects the right of states to be sovereign and to determine their own future. And so I think we have to call on, I mean, the government of Justin Trudeau, we know that's a hard fight there, right? I don't think they really care too much about the rule of law and about peace and about justice. We have to put pressure on the NDP. We need to see them speak up. We need to see them out here. And we have to keep mobilizing and organizing in the streets. The last thing I want to say is, as a professor at Mohawk College, when we are speaking to to the youth and we're dialoguing with them about the world today, I think it's incredibly important that we are clear about what we're dealing with. There is no such thing as justified imperialism. You know, this whole doctrine of the responsibility to protect that the Canadian government has trotted out in the past, it's a lie. These are wars, again, for the rich, against working people in different countries. And I think that the more that working people in Canada, in the United States, in Iran, in Iraq, in Syria, in Venezuela can come together and resist these wars, then we may finally put an end to the war machine. And thank you everyone for coming out today and doing your part to that end. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. What a great way to get things started. And that was a great talk, and this shows why you need to develop activists in your city. Speaking of which, coming up next, we have Rich Wyman, and I want to explain, Rich is with the Hamilton and District Labour Council, and we are honored that the Hamilton District Labour Council has voted to endorse the rally in Hamilton, this rally here today, which is part of the Global Day of Protest. So, we're pleased to note the Labour Council is playing a very progressive role in the ranks of the Canadian labour movement by recently passing a number of pro-peace resolutions for consideration at the upcoming Canadian Labour Congress Convention. So please welcome Rich Wyman, Executive Member of the Hamilton District Labour Council. Thank you.
Thank you, friends, allies, sisters, brothers, comrades. My name is Rich Wyman. I'm an executive member of the Hamilton District Labour Council, and our delegates at our last meeting unanimously voted to not only endorse and support this rally, but also to oppose any war maneuvers by the Canadian government or the US government against the people of Iran. And we think it's very important that people in the labor movement and their unions stand up and acknowledge that what this is, what wars are, as our brother Kevin pointed out, is basically our employers, our bosses enriching themselves by sending poor people off to fight other poor people. And that's why our Labour Council took a stand. We said no to the war on Iran, just like the Labour Council said no to the previous war on Iraq. Our Labour Council stands for working class unity against the employers and against the ruling class, and we thank everybody for coming out here today. And we know that we can continue to build a movement, not just on the streets, but we have to build a movement in the workplaces that says no to war, no to Trudeau's government attacking working people here and attacking working people in Iran. Solidarity, brothers and sisters.